The solution to the perception problem is representation. So when we have disabled people in TV, films, marketing, but also teachers, lawyers, doctors, etc., that's when those stereotypes are broken down. And social media has been a game changer because disabled people have had a voice and can curate the conversation more for ourselves, which has been phenomenal to see. I'm Martyn Sibley. I'm the co-founder of Purple Goat Agency and generally an inclusion activist. An inclusion activist for me is just generally educating the world on how to be more accessible and inclusive for disabled people, and also empowering disabled people to go and grab their best life as well. So I landed in my spacecraft from Mars about 20 years ago. I suppose my story does start around having a disability. Growing up with SMA definitely moulded part of my experience of the world. Bringing that up into university, that was a really big leap for me. I did economics and a master's in marketing there. And then after that, my first job was at a charity called Scope, where I did 5 years that really, I suppose, gave me a grounding in disability inclusion and disability rights. And that set me up for what's been about a decade now of working at the intersection of inclusion, entrepreneurship and social media. I'm disabled. I've had a wheelchair since I was about 3 years old. It's fair to say the world hasn't been designed by a wheelchair user. There's a lot of barriers to getting onto transport and buildings. Another barrier is from the perception and the attitudes of people. And another barrier is around organisational policies. And so for me, inclusion is how we knock down those three types of barriers, so that I'll still be Martyn who has spinal muscular atrophy, but I'll also be Martyn that can get in buildings, people don't judge me because I'm in a wheelchair, and there's no policies holding me back. I think on a really basic level, my wheelchair is my legs. It's how I get around physically. I got my Karma chair around 3 years ago, and so I was shown that Karma had the EVO Lectus, and it looked amazing and it had features and functions that I'd not really seen before, and yet ultimately decided that was going to be the next chair for me. I suppose in other ways it just enables me to be a good fiance, to help look after our dog Sunny, to travel the world, which I've done a lot of and thoroughly enjoy, and to do all of my work and my advocacy work. I remember when I was 3 years old and I got my first power wheelchair, that feeling of liberation and freedom and independence was really powerful, and that still remains today. When I was growing up, there wasn't a whole lot of disabled role models. For me, role models are vital, not as an unattainable role model, but an example of what everyday life and living very attainable dreams can look like. And so I started blogging because I wanted to be that outlet that I didn't have when I was in my teen years. So even today, I'm very motivated and driven to know that I am inspiring the next generation of disabled people.